Eric Muad with Muad.com with another mentorship video. This time we are taking a look at a stock here that has done very well and has been on our watch list and a recommendation for a breakout. I believe, I'm not sure, somehow I forget, either it was this breakout that we highlighted for subscribers or maybe this one of the two. Either way, stock has done well, and there was a question posed to me recently, is somebody had gone long. Actually, to be very honest, we went long and I sent out a premium breakout alert during this breakout here. And so my subscriber was asking me a question after this nice move. He took profit somewhere here and was wondering how he could have timed it maybe for a re-entry somewhere here. So that's the question. Logically speaking, or from an ideal situation, how would I have gone back into the stock here so I can be part of this move is the question. And I think on a short-term consideration, let's first and foremost go back to why the stock was a buy during this breakout here. So why was it a buy? And it goes back to the ultimate move, the breakout. And of course, by now you know what that means. Also keep in mind here that the stock was showing sharp angle of penetration prior. The last time it had moved above 69.10, which is a very strong indication of how the stock behaves. Here it had already shown us that when it moves above 69.1, it tends to have a sharp angle of penetration. So it's that movement above. So if this is 69.1 on your RSI, you want to really pay attention to stocks that have a history of sharp angle of penetrations as they move above that 69.1 level, as opposed to one that has a shallow entry into the angle of into that 69.1 level. So here the stock was showing us that it has that capacity to move with the velocity. And take note, it does the same thing after the next breakout when we were giving that breakout entry here. The main thing why the stock was a buy at about $6 was because on the monthly you can see that the stock was already trading at fresh MACD and RSI 3-year high. So you can see here stock was already trading at 3-year highs during this move from about $2, and also again during this breakout here at about under $5. So we had used this entry here at $5, this monthly closing high, this monthly closing high of about $5 was our entry point. And once the stock moved above that, that was triggered by this RSI moving to fresh highs. And again, you see that the MACDs were also moving to fresh highs. So it met our minimum requirements with the MACDs moving to fresh highs. And also take note of this MACD moving above 0, which is an indication of change of sentiment. After many years of trading below 0 on the MACD, the stock finally moved its MACD above 0. Another sign of a stock with strength. So the question comes now on the daily. How would one have at least considered this to be a logical place to start looking for re-entry? And I'll show you a couple things on the short-term consideration. Number one, if you take the line connecting RSI lows and draw a straight line like that, you can see that it touched the lows and it came here, touched the line with uniform activity and bounced back above it. So there was your first indication that somewhere around here, when the stock was trading under $8, that it was a place where after it touched this line and bounced on it, that it was time to consider going long again. So that's one reason why you could have used that as an entry. There's another reason, which is you can see that the stock, after this move here, and you can see this RSI movement corresponds with this price move off about this $2 area. And since then, the stock hasn't looked back, going on to record highs of as high as 1150. So we know that this entry here, about that entry around the 50, is where it starts moving. And you can see this to be true because once it moved above 50 here, it went on a nice run. Again, it moved above 50 here, it went on a multi-day run here. And again, it had double bottom support, which was this lows, and went on a nice run, hasn't looked back. Uniform activity at the 50 line, bouncing on the 50 with uniform activity. It hasn't looked back since then. And also here you see that this is perfect bounce at the 50 level, and since then it hasn't looked back. So those two lines, the green line showing that where it has been bouncing at the 50 RSI level, and also on the daily, connecting recent daily RSI lows, that is where the stock could have found, or at least given you an indication that it was about to bounce. Both were legitimate, and you can see since then the stock has moved from about under $8 all the way to $11.50. So for short-term considerations, that's one way you can use the RSI on the daily. Now take note that this line, actually, if you draw it correctly, connecting this low and this low, the line actually shows this type of action. In other words, the blue line looks like this. So we bounce off this level, which is this entry, and then this low here is here. So this is this low, and then now down the road the stock has come here and done that. Because it is uniform activity below the line and back above it, this area here, then the stock is giving you a reversal signal because of weaving itself below and back above the line. That is uniform activity, what I call uniformity, and that was your buy signal during this drop here at about 750. So the stock had given you that indication that it might have been looking to go higher. Now one more thing, let's go back to the monthly, and you can see because the RSI was making all-time highs, then the indication was it was very strong. The RSI on the monthly was also pushing above 61.8 for the first time in 3 years, or maybe all-time highs. That was indication of strength. So because of that monthly chart, then you have to use any excuse in the world to go along the name. And again, we see two reasons here. Number one, that support line, and then number two, on this uniformity line. So the stock gave you a reason to re-enter it somewhere here under $8, and that's my answer how you can time a stock, a strong stock that is pulling back short term. Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. Good luck, peace, and blessings. I am out. Peace. Oh, 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 oh. Blessings. I am out. You still here? What? Why? Why?